Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. It is Friday. It's still very much early in the morning. I'm actually a little bit, I would say I got up a little later than I did Wednesday, but no. Yeah, later than Wednesday, not as early as Thursday. That's what I did. That's into my low behind the active kindness. I would say that my low is my allergies are finally catching up with me. I don't know what it is. They've just been really getting at me lately, which is insane. My high is surprisingly I've been sleeping well. I mean, I'm still tired, but I feel as if I've slept pretty good, since like Wednesday to today. Yeah. And my act of kindness was I held the door a whole bunch of times for a whole bunch of different people yesterday. So, anything else that happened? Actually, I should also mention that my high is, normally my mom will make pepper steak with onions and white rice, which is something I had growing up. But seriously, the last several times I had it was always on my birthday. Meaning, I would have to wait an entire year before I had it again. No reason for it, that's just how it was. But last night, my mom made it. Yeah, she made it. Let's get to why we're really here, which is this week's episode of Hot Ones. Hot Ones. Okay. Let me get my notes out. Because Tim Dillon was on yesterday. And he actually had some pretty bold things to say about several things that I definitely want to get into. First things first, Sean asked him if he misses anything about doing stand-up on Sunset Boulevard. Because now Austin, Texas is becoming a new hub for stand-up, especially since Joe Rogan made like a club there for a lot of people to go to. And really everything he said had to do with everything that happened before the pandemic started. Because he went on a tangent in regards to, we're never going to have to stop doing stand-up. And then the pandemic happens, and then, no one can ever make us stop doing what we're doing. And then the pandemic happened, and then a lot of places restricted things. One place that didn't really restrict very much, the entirety of the state of Texas. Which actually does remind me, at this point you guys know I'm Catholic, and yes, every time I go to church, we do the whole, body of Christ, communion wafer thing. Here's the thing though. Before the pandemic started, we always got the blood of Christ as well, which is a very, very tiny sip of wine. Since the pandemic, we don't do that anymore. However, in 2023, when I went to my cousin's wedding, we went to church, they're actually doing that. They're actually doing the blood of Christ in Texas. So yeah, man, Texas really is a good state. It is a great state. It is. It's like 3 times the size of New York. Okay. They talked about how they need more daytime television, listen, even now I remember that daytime television kind of got a bad rap because there was a lot of really, trashy stuff. like Jerry Springer back in the day. Although Sean did ask, like, what do you think? Well, here's the thing. It was, by more trash TV, what he really meant was, like, now anytime you watch any, like, talk show or anything like that, they always have to bring politics into the mix. Why? He's right. Like, I don't want to know, what the president may or may not be doing at any given time. Like, do what they did with Maury. And speaking of which, like, what do you think the secret was behind Maury Povich being, like, the longest lasting one of these shows? And there really was, and Tim Dillon did a great job of putting it like this. There really was always a sort of like on the edge of your seat sort of moment where you're wondering if a person is or is not the father. And right when they're about to say if that's true, that's when they cut to commercial. That's what they did. They talked about how Tim Dillon used to do New York City tours and how he would go off script, and by go off script, I mean tell you, like, normally if you're doing, listen, I've never been on a tour, but I know how it works, where basically you say, this is, this monument, it was built, yada, yada, yada. Very significant people such as so-and-so, were here, stuff like that. Tim Dillon would just say, listen, over there, that's a bad area. Like he really would say pretty much the truth. And there was one reviewer of Tim Dillon's who said, people looked in shock and fear. Looked on it in shock and fear. Which is funny. They talked about Long Island food, and the greatest gift that Long Island has given the food world, the culinary world, is the bacon, egg, and cheese. Which, okay. Although that does bring up a topic I'll get into a little bit later in this video. He talked about what was worse, performing in a tattoo parlor or performing on date night in a fine dining restaurant. And I don't think he technically gave a clear answer, but he was very much leaning towards the tattoo. Because he's performed both, but with like a tattoo, there are people who are legit again, tattoos. I've never gotten a tattoo. I don't want a tattoo. But I imagine they hurt. So, he'll be trying to do so Tim Dillon will try to do a set, and you'll hear like the zzz of the tattoo needle, like as it's going on. So yeah, there's that. They talked about the differences between billionaires of the 19th century, the business tycoon type person, versus today, like the tech wizards of like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, I guess. And like, to put it simply, the world really is getting ruled by nerds. That's what he was alluding to, man. The world is getting ruled by nerds. And back then, those business tycoons were saying, they were just, being fat and evil with top hat and cane, stuff like that. They talked about how the boomers are the last like funny generation that that existed, where you know they're definitely the best at telling stories in regards to what life was like growing up, but there's also that like paranoia that boomers have, and like no, like there's like sort of like there's like fear and mad. They created the world of today. Like whenever you hear, oh, that's a problem for the next generation, it's usually boomers talking about, you know, millennials or Gen Y or Gen Z or whatever. Okay. Now, remember earlier when Sean asked about Long Island food, and Tim Dillon said it's the bacon, egg, and cheese, which is like the greatest gift that Long Island has given to the culinary world. Sean asked him, what is the most influential fast food item of all time? Now, before I get into that, Sean also asked him to do a FMK, Friendly's, Haagen-Dazs, and Salt and Straw. F Friendly's, marry Haagen-Dazs, and kill Salt and Straw. He thinks they should bring back the original grilled stuffed burrito from Taco Bell. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people liked it. I will never eat a Taco Bell, so there you go. Now, Tim Dillon said the most influential fast food item of all time was the McGriddle from McDonald's. And on a very, very strong note, I'm inclined to agree. I have had the McGriddle before, and it is absolutely awesome. But the main problem with the McGriddle is I don't want to have to choose between, you know, having it with bacon or having it with sausage. Because, I mean, why can't I have both? Is there any reason why McDonald's can't make a McGriddle with sausage and bacon on it? And come to think of it, like, they clearly have ham. It's the Canadian bacon they have for the Egg McMuffin, but they have ham. So is there any reason why you can't have, you know, the ham on the McGriddle as well? Especially when you would think, considering that it's essentially, you know, maple syrup infused pancakes for, you know, the McGriddle sandwich. Like, the ham would go really well with that. My point is, the McGriddle, if you want to say it's the most influential fast food item of all time, I will not stop you. However, I will argue, though, there's one that's equally as good, if not better, because it answers the problem that I mentioned, which is why choose between sausage, bacon, and ham when you can have all three? Hence why I will tell you the most influential fast food item of all time is the fully loaded croissant from Burger King. Yes, that is what it is. Because I'm not choosing between ham, bacon, and sausage. Give me all three. For the record, I do like it. It's been a good while since I've had one. I should consider getting it though at some point. Let's see. They also talked about the one he served on jury duty, and how you know, he was sort of clowning around with the defendant, which seems wildly inappropriate, and it was. Hold on. Sorry, I feel like I gotta sneeze. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, it's on on jury duty. And okay, this was really funny. So for the last dab, Sean mentioned how, in his podcast there's a lot of like controversial stuff, a lot of stuff that can get people upset. Is there anything that gives him hope? Is there anything that like he can say, you know what? There's actually like a bright there actually is a brighter horizon in the distance. We just gotta get it right. Like, what is that? And he was just really blunt in saying, Japan makes cakes that look like bears. That's what he said. Japan makes cakes that look like bears. I mean, I'm gonna look up what they are. I'm done with these notes, by the way. Hold on. Okay. Japan bear cake. Okay. What do these things look like? Oh. I guess, they're not bad looking, but they don't really leave that much to the imagination. Oh. So, yeah. Japan makes cakes look like bears, and that's what gives him doing hope. I hope y'all like, and speaking of hope, I personally hope y'all like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching, enjoy our video. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, let me know. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.